Vuyo. Vuyo, there seems to be a scenario that is playing out, that the Public Protector is maybe fighting a little bit for credibility today. It's now the fourth incomplete report that's been leaked from her office. Just give us your views on this.
Look, I mean, obviously, it's a concern because it's something that shouldn't be happening. It's a concern because then, if you understand her mandate of her office, it is basically, or put simply, to protect or to look after the interests of the public. Now, if her integrity is being impugned, then, or the integrity of that office, then there's obviously a problem. But what it also means is that those who may have done, who may have wronged the South African public, will then find reason, a good enough reason, to actually hide behind and not be brought to book, or certainly not in the way that would perhaps be the case. But I don't think we should at this stage jump into conclusions. That is why I personally had an issue with the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC suggesting that evidence suggests that Thuli Madonsela's office is the one that is responsible for the leaks, because there is no evidence, conclusive evidence, to lead to that. But on the other hand, I also had problems with her yesterday suggesting that the leaks could not have come from her office. And the reason she's putting forward is that they've had the report since March, but I mean, that's not a good enough reason, because it could well be that the person in her office, I'm not saying it is someone from her office, but theoretically, and as a lawyer, she should know better, that in the realm of possibilities, there is that possibility that someone from her office may have been waiting for the chance, and got the chance a couple of weeks ago. So, you know.
Furthermore, she went on to say that it's not in her interest, or there's no benefits for her office to be leaking this report.
There may not be a benefit for her or for her office, but there may be a benefit for somebody else. If you are my pal, you know, and I need a favor from you, I could do that. I mean, you could do you could do me a favor as a friend. There may not be an interest for me because in the office that I'm working in, but it doesn't mean that I can't do something for somebody else. Yes, I think she has a case in saying that the reporter, one of the reports came from the independent newspapers, and independent newspapers in their story said that two officials from security cluster of ministries actually told them A, B, C, and D. But that is not a good enough reason for her to say subsequent reports, or even that reports indeed came from the state and not from her office, for argument's sake.
Should we then now have an investigation into the leak and into her office, for that matter?
You see, that's something I put to her yesterday when we did an interview after that briefing. That is a question that was asked even at the briefing, that shouldn't she consider? Well, her argument at the briefing was that she's got 150 investigators who she wouldn't want to be held in court processes doing things other than actually investigating and doing the work that they are supposed to do. The second reason she put forward was that if she does it with one, she has to do it with everybody else. But the issue I have with that logic or argument is that for the same reason that she has decided, because of the leaks, that she will not give these provisional reports to interested parties again, but will only give them the parts that affect them. So I said, for the same reason, she reviewed her own policy. She should perhaps look at reviewing her policy, even if it means taking one case to court to set an example. But she cannot, and my suspicion, which may or may not be true, but my suspicion is that she wouldn't want to offend the media, because by and large the media supports what she does, and that's not because the media likes her. It's just that because of the work she has done, but also the dignity and the respect she has brought to that office. But that's not a good enough reason not to pursue the media in the event when the media has done wrong.
What do you expect? You're on your way there. What do you expect to come out of today's briefings?
Well, from what we were told, or from what they hinted, there's quite a few reports that are supposed to be tabled. One of them that I think a lot of people will be looking forward to hearing from her about is the one on the former communications minister Dinapule. That report is coming out today. But there's also another report apparently on the books, school books in the Eastern Cape. That also is going to come about. But there's another report that I vaguely picked up on Sekunjalo. I don't know. Sekunjalo, as you know, I mean, now also a media player in their own right, having brought the Independent and all that. So it's going to be interesting what she's going to say about that. And so there's a number of reports that she's releasing today.
I just want to conclude by going a little bit wider. You know, the president has been trialed on social media and in the media the last week or so. Just give us your views on this and how the approval ratings of the president is doing at the moment.
Look, I mean, it's bound. I think the reason the ANC went public this week about the so-called Nkandla report of the Public Protector was precisely because they've suddenly realized, looking at social media, listening to what people have to say in all sorts of fora, it's an issue that's now being made an election issue. So the ANC has finally woken up to that reality, and the question perhaps they should be asking themselves is why they are waking up now, because for a very long time people have been talking about the Public Protector report and the fact that it should be released. The Public Protector herself has raised issues with the I mean, she told us a couple of months ago when we did another interview with her that she didn't know who to give her draft report to, something that in large part should have been sorted through legislation in Parliament. And the ANC is the majority party in Parliament, and almost all committees, except for a few like your public accounts and so on, are actually led by the ANC. The ANC should have looked at this. In other words, at a strategic level, the ANC should have foreseen this and should have tried to deal with this issue much, much earlier. And I think they should partly take responsibility for where things are at the moment.
In conclusion, I want to ask you, there's your take on this matter, and it would simply be that there's a lot of loose talk going around about clandestine ANC meetings at secret locations discussing the future of the president. What do you make of that, and have you heard anything from your sources around that?
Well, I mean, the ANC, there are people within the ANC, that's an open secret, who are not keen to have President Jacob Zuma leading the ANC's campaign. But whether there are a significant force that can actually make that happen is a moot point. My sense or take is that they don't have the numbers to actually make that happen. So for all intents and purposes, President Jacob Zuma is going to be the ANC's number one on the election list and is their presidential candidate. Gauteng or whoever within Gauteng has taken the view that he should not. I'm afraid that view is not going to win. I think they've left it too late if they ever thought that that idea had prospects of seeing the light of day. And so what's going to happen now is President Jacob Zuma is going to lead the ANC's election campaign and is their presidential candidate for the 2014 elections.
General elections. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and we look forward to what comes out of today. That's our contributing editor, Vuyo Mvoko.